The African Transformation Movement Party has filed complaints with the Public Protector against the Public Works Department. This is for allegedly flouting procurement processes surrounding the building of the Beitbridge border fence. For more on this, I'm joined now by ATM President Vuyo Zungula. Zungula, good evening and thank you for your time. You've lodged this complaint with the Public Protector alleging that there is a sense of maladministration and procurement irregularities regarding the 37 million that is being used for the Beitbridge border fence project. What are you complaining about? Others have been saying this is like a washing line fence. It has been destroyed and has not been repaired, not worth the 37 million that has been spent on it.
Thank you, Thabo. Critically, it's exactly that. When you look at that fence, it does not match 37 million at all. Therefore, we ask ourselves the question whether there could be something that was done whereby the procurement processes were not followed. We know when there's a time of a pandemic, this is the time whereby corrupt officials use this time to actually enrich themselves. So this is the major reason why we decided to lodge a complaint to the Public Protector to make sure that everything was above board.
What is the scope of the probe you want conducted against the Minister and her department?
Firstly, were all of the processes followed? The value, the work that was done on the fence, does it match the value that was paid? So that is critically what we are looking at, to make sure that the proper processes were not flouted because a person can say there was an emergency, therefore we needed to ignore one or two rules. We want a state whereby each and everything that is done according to the book.
Now, these are questions that the Minister herself has asked when presenting to Parliament, and that's why she has instructed or requested the Auditor General to conduct an investigation into this matter. Why run the two parallel processes?
It raises the question why, if she's confident that everything was done properly, why is she instructing the Auditor General? And look, our point of recourse as a party and as citizens, it is the Public Protector who is independent. And it cannot be the Minister who, when she talks in Parliament, she will cover herself and say everything was done properly. Whereas on the other side, she instructs another Chapter 9 institution to actually investigate. So that is why the best thing that we can do as a country is to just let the Public Protector investigate and give us an outcome.
Now, the process of appointing the service provider was, of course, done through a closed process. This was also done under emergency procurement, which is a process that is overlooked by National Treasury. Why are you not looking at National Treasury into this matter as well?
The department that is responsible for that fence, it is the Department of Public Works. Therefore, everything must start with their respective department. Other departments, their involvement or whether they were supposed to do other things will come after the respective department has had to answer. So we'll wait on the outcome from the Public Protector, then we'll see what to do going forward.
Thabo Zungula, let me stay with you for a little bit. After the break, we get reaction from the Minister who's standing by on the line as well to this complaint brought to the Public Protector by the ATM. Flattening the Curve continues next. Flatten the Curve continues on Newztoom Afrika, channel 405. Thanks for staying on. Your poll question today, Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane investigating claims of corruption with the COVID-19 Relief Fund. Are you surprised, yes or no? We'll get your reaction in a moment. Still with me on the line, the African Transformation Movement Party President Vuyo Zungula, as well as the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Patricia de Lille. Minister, good evening and thank you for your time tonight. Around the 21st of April, a complaint was lodged with the Public Protector on the Beitbridge border fence campaign. Public Protector has assessed jurisdiction and merit and given the go-ahead for this investigation to continue, including your role, which the Public Protector says has raised questions. What is your response?
Well, first of all, I respect the right of any South African to lay a complaint with the Public Protector. That is your constitutional right. Secondly, the department itself, Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, has launched an internal investigation through our anti-corruption unit. We have further also asked the Auditor General to investigate the matter on the 20th of April, and then the Auditor General is currently busy with the investigation. I've taken it a step further to stop any further payments to the contractor. We so far have paid 21 million, and I'm waiting on the outcome of all of these investigations so that we know whoever is responsible must be held accountable. The public has got the right to know, and the public must be assured that taxpayers' money is spent properly. So I've got absolutely no problem with the Public Protector investigating these allegations.
Now, Minister, I'm sure you were aware, and many of civil society organizations warned that emergencies, they increase the risk of corruption and broader supply management chain failure. So what risk management approach, shall I ask, did you take in this particular project to ensure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed?
Since last year, we have introduced consequence management and also contract management. So officials will know that, there will be consequences and there will be sanctions for any wrongdoing. In terms of the Public Finance Management Act, the administration is responsible for procurement under the leadership of the Director General. The Director General, as we're all working together to get to the bottom of this. And once we have concluded all of these investigations, we will certainly make those reports public. Because, yes, currently there is a provision for emergency procurement, but emergency procurement doesn't mean that any official can take any shortcuts. The request and the brief to the Auditor General was to say, please, AG, can you investigate whether we got value for money? Is the fence according to the specifications provided by the Department of Defense? The Department of Defense, in terms of the Constitution, are responsible to patrol and guard the borders. In this case, Public Works, together with the Department of Defense, just after the President declared the lockdown, there was a request that certain hotspots, only 40 kilometers of the over 700 kilometers of border fence between South Africa and Zimbabwe, that people were simply just walking over, and the request came from the Department of Defense that those hotspots must be replaced and repaired. So that is where it all started in March of 2020. And as I was saying, I agree that the public we must be accountable to the public. And if there's any wrongdoing, as you know, the Auditor General now, in terms of the new Audit Amendment Act, have got more powers. When it's found that there's any irregular expenditure, the Auditor General can issue a death certificate, and, the persons responsible will be held accountable. So I'm awaiting the outcome of the investigations, and then I will certainly make those reports public.
Do you agree with your DG that you got value for money?
Well, the Director General is the accounting officer when it comes to procurement. As ministers, we are not allowed to interfere in procurement. And, the DG will have to answer that question himself. But I'm waiting for the investigation of the Auditor General so that we can get to the bottom of all of this.
But, Minister, have you done your own assessments? Have you gone to the border? Have you looked at it as the political principle to see if you got value for money?
No, I've not gone there myself, but the internal investigating unit of the department, accompanied by the SIU, some officials of the SIU, they went to go and visit the border twice already. They've also gone down there with some engineers to look at the specification of the fence, and that is all part of the internal investigation. They've also shared some of that information with the Auditor General, and I hope that very soon we can get the report so that we can get to the bottom of this thing.
How soon can we expect that report?
Well, I was hoping for the end of this week, but it doesn't look like it. I will be in contact with my office again tomorrow to find out whether the AG's office has indicated by when they will be completing their job. As you know, the Auditor General has been very proactive with the emergency procurement. With President Cyril Ramaphosa, they've met and they have put systems in place to ensure that emergency procurement is not used as a shortcut to corruption. So the AG is on top of it, and I've got full trust in the independence of the Auditor General that he will be able to establish whether we got value for money.